Hey, what's up? It's Rob Gordon, the wingman. Not on the water because I busted my toe on the laundry room door and it's pretty nasty. But I want to do a quick pump tutorial just because someone was asking about it and I had some leftover footage from the jive tutorial. The main thing is, especially with high aspect wings, is getting board speed. You want that board speed. That's what's going to get that lift. Because if you go just pump and you're not going fast enough, especially on the high aspect wings, the board's going to flop down. You're going to get up and boom, flop down. Get up, boom, flop down. You're going to be like, oh, this foil is so pitchy. It's not. You just need to go faster. I point the board downwind just a little bit. And then I look for the wind in the wing. I squat down and I try and get some board speed just with the wind. When I feel the wind gust, that's when I'm going to pump. And I'm going to pull pretty hard. You know, people don't pump hard enough. I pull pretty hard sometimes. And I push down with that back foot to get the board out of the water. Once the board is out of the water, I bring the wing forward into the wind window because you need to get forward momentum. You need to turn the upward lift into forward lift. So I bring the wing forward. And then at that point, if I still need more power, I just pump the wing. I don't use the board anymore. I just try and get some more speed. So that's the big thing. I point downwind, and look, I'll be honest, I try not to pump. I try and plane like a windsurfer just with board speed. So anyway, I'm not that great at pumping. I just ride a big wing and that does it for me. Here's my friend Ken. I want him to talk about some of his thoughts on pumping because he's got some really cool thoughts.
So I think Rob hit on a couple of key points, and one of them is that it's all about the board speed to make the foil lift. And when you're getting going, and if you put too much back foot pressure to try to make the board come up in the air before you have the speed, exactly, you're going to come up and plop back down. And with a smaller board, then you can bury the nose, and then you got to start over again. So that's really frustrating. So you know, it's all about getting the board speed. Another thing that he didn't talk about, but he actually demonstrated pretty well, is when he was pumping, you saw that as his elbows were coming down, as he was pumping the wing down, he was also moving his feet. So the idea is you're pulling down with the wing or down and a little bit back, but at the same time you're unweighting a little bit, and so that helps to bring the board up out of the water and unstick. So those are a couple of cool things. The other thing I think helps with pumping, and I'll be like Rob and say I'm not very good at it. I'm not, because I sail at windy spots. But I think a kind of a bit of a circular motion when you're trying to pump is helpful. So like Rob said, start real high, because otherwise you're going to end up with that wingtip in the water. So start real high and kind of pull. I'll do it slow motion, right? It's kind of a kind of a circular, and what that does is so you're almost pulling back a little bit as you're doing it, and if you can pump this wing without the canopy making all that noise, then you know you're delivering good consistent power.
And if you watch me, there's a lot of noise in the canopy, and I don't care. I'm just going to brute force my way. But this is a better method.
Brute force worked good too.
Can you show us one? Like, show us one. If you were just starting off.
Well, first I'd be on a much bigger board, but Rob loves these tiny boards.
That looks really good, actually. You're going to start going right now. And that's the wingtip. You got to worry about the wingtip, especially this is the older model Cabrillo, so it's not as squared off as the new ones. I'm not rich. I don't buy the new gear.
And I've got some bad habits being a windsurfer. You know, windsurfing, you pump with the back hand. It's really hard for me to use, you know, to just move this whole thing. I always want to pull in a little bit with that back hand. That's something not to do.
That's so true. I pump like a windsurfer too.
And if you can add a little forward scoot to it, it helps to push that board forward just a little bit, and that's another little cheat that you can try.
Absolutely.
On a not so windy day. I'm with Rob. I don't really like to pump.
No,
I like to just be powered up and have the wind.
You know, one thing I saw, like when Ken was pumping, especially since the wind is so garbage right here and so swirly, on these wings, when you pump, it's really easy to sink the wingtip, and then you're kind of screwed. So try and keep that wing up a little bit, and just be careful when you're, when you're overzealous pumping. try and keep that wingtip up out of the water. Sometimes it's really easy to sink it right as you're about to get on foil. You touch the tip and then you got to start over.
I've made that mistake too many times.
Thanks for watching, Ken. Thanks for showing us your way. Awesome. Sure. And I don't know if he's got a YouTube yet, but we should get him on one.
I don't do a YouTube.
Sorry for those noisy wingers in the background. If there's anything wingers love, it is talking about winging. I think that was Josh from the foil shop. Go see him in Seal Beach for all of your foil needs. So here you see I'm sort of waiting for the wind to give me enough power to stand up, and there I get it. And I'll start off here with just some arm pumps, just trying to find where the wind is, see if there's enough for me to get up on foil. And then once I feel that there is, then I start using my whole body and I get up and I start foiling. It's not the best example because it's pretty windy here. I didn't have to work that hard. One thing you'll see is how the board's coming up and kind of flopping down. A big part of the problem here is I'm pointed too far upwind, and that's because it's windy and I'm being lazy and not doing things the right way. When there's wind, you can get away with it. You don't really see me bring the wing forward in the window, but I am, making some small adjustments with my arm to get more power forward. Here you see I'm downwind, and look, I pump only a couple of times and I'm up right away. And that's probably because I'm pointed more downwind and I have more board speed. So I'll just do it in a slow motion here so you can really see how my body is working. I start with my arms a little bit, and then, look, I really do drive my legs down like in a squat, so it's a great workout. And then after here, I have some footage from my buoy cam, which is why it's kind of weird looking, and I had to stabilize it as best as I could. But you see me get up. There's not as much wind on this day. But see, it's still, that downwind board speed is really what I go for, number one. And here, this is where, and when I have enough wind with the big wing, I don't actually even have to pump. And this is my preferred method. See, I'm really squatted down, getting a lot of power, going downwind, and then I just, a little bit of back foot pressure, and I'm up on foil.
So we're just getting some power in the wing, going downwind, getting that speed, board speed, board speed, board speed. Push down a little bit and we're up. That is the way to get on foil. Pumping is for chumps. Pumping is chumping.
I mean, sometimes you're going to have to pump. Like if it's light wind and you're working with the edge of possibility, you're going to have to pump. But, one thing that really helps is a fast board. Once you're up on foil, you could ride a piece of plywood. It doesn't really matter as long as the mast track's in the right place. But a fast board will allow you to start planing downwind. And this is why I've sort of decided to stop at the 65 liter for now. I rode a 50 liter the other day, and I couldn't get board speed in light wind because I was underwater too much. So you do need a fast board. The Axis Froth is a very fast board. Works really well to get up without pumping.